Alright everyone, welcome back to the aftermath of Shiro and Saber arguing. But what do I do with all that? I value my life and I don't want to do anything to end it. And my life has nothing to do with Saber. Bringing my circumstances into this wasn't fair. No matter how stupid I am, I know for sure that Saber is wrong. But when she outright rejects me like that, there's not really anything I can do. I roll over to lay flat on my face. Now all I see is the tatami mat, so I might as well close my eyes and empty my mind. I don't care what happens to Saber. If the Holy Grail is so important, then she should just marry it. If she's gonna be this stubborn after I've told her this so many times, I should just stay out of it. I'll end up getting burned. Actually, I might not get out of that mess with only a burn. I might actually get really hurt. I've already gotten hurt. Is it in the chestal area, sir? The heart of hearts? This is worse than just getting burned. I met her, fought with her multiple times and to survive, I saw into the depths of her heart in a moment of incredible intimacy. I remember her heat, the light deep inside her. I don't know why I'm remembering this right now. There's a faraway grassy field, memories of a girl left behind. The moment I think back to that beauty, nothing matters anymore. What Saber says doesn't matter. Saber is just unfair. I don't know what exactly is unfair about her, but I know something is. Angry as I am, I can't hate her. The more I want to forget her, the harder it gets. It's all tangled up. That's usually the saying. The person that usually falls first gets burned. There's something to that effect. But I can't help it. I can't give up no matter how many times she tells me it's useless. I just have to see it through to the end. I remember her face there, on the verge of tears. Does that mean... will she make that face every time I do something like this? I'm gonna keep doing this, even if I'm wrong. If she's really important to me, I'll never apologize to her. I think I hear a sound. I'm not sure when the sun set, but the room's gone dark. The ticking of the clock is getting annoying. Huh? She sounds upset. I snapped to full wakefulness.
10時過ぎ?
I jump up.
そう、正確には22時17分。夕飯の時間にしては論外ね。
Tosaka stands over me, looking annoyed.
すまん、寝てた。すぐに行くから今で待っててくれ。
それはいいけど、シロ、セイバーは？
いや、ここにいないんなら道場か今じゃないのか。
シロ、私はセイバーがいないから聞いてるの。
Tosaka is serious, and I instantly realize what that means.
まさか、あいつ帰ってきてないのか。
ちょっとシロ、帰ってきてないってどういうことよ。
Tosaka runs out of the room after me. There's no time to explain. I ignore Tosaka's yelling behind me and I rush outside. This soundtrack will always forever be one of my favorites for this series. I don't know the name of it, but I like it a lot. The town is quiet. Just like yesterday, there's absolutely nobody around. I don't have the patience to think about how odd that is. Saber hasn't come home yet. I actually don't blame her. We had a huge argument. She said she was gonna fight alone. Knowing her, she'd do it too. Saber's nowhere to be found. If I can't find her, that might mean she's actually fighting Lancer, the final servant, as we speak. But I head straight to one more place. The air near the river is cold. The night is chilly, and when I passed the park, it was so cold the entire place felt like it was covered in frost. My cheeks and ears sting with cold, and my breath mists white. If it's that cold in the park, I can't imagine how absolutely freezing it's going to be on the bridge with the wind blowing up from the river. There, I see her. Saber! She's right where she'd been standing when I ran away. Saber leans on the rail and just gazes out over the water. Maybe she's following the sun, which is long set. She's staring off into the distance, her eyes fixed on the red horizon that's long since vanished. And that's when I realize Saber is strong, but she's weak too. Her dignified appearance is just her way of trying to prove she can get by without anyone's help. But at the same time, she's so fragile she might slip through my fingers if I reach for her. She can't do things alone, but she will probably keep that front up to the very end. So, just like me, she's been staring up at the unreachable stars. All she does is look at the setting sun, as if it's all she knows how to do. I can't leave her alone. If our argument needs a loser, then it's unquestionably me. It's led to me swearing never to let her make that face again. I step out onto the bridge. Saber doesn't seem to hear my footsteps. I approach without a word and lean on the rail next to Saber.
Saber, 体冷えるぞ。
She jumps in surprise. Saber finally notices me.
シロ、
She turns toward me.
何してんだよ、こんな時間まで。いつまでも帰ってこないから、遠坂が心配してたぞ。
そうですか。それは悪いことをした。
別にいいけどな。けど、なんだってこんなところにいたんだ、お前は。いや。
はい。ここにいたのは、まだ行き先が決まっていなかったからです。シロは勝手にしろと言ったでしょう。ですから勝手にしようと思ったのです。けれど何をするべきか、何をしたいのか、どこに行きたいのか思い浮かばず、ずっとどこに行くべきかを考えていました。
She sounds like a lost child. Saber doesn't look me in the eyes as she speaks. Maybe she feels guilty. Maybe she does right after the fight we had. I can't blame her for thinking I must be angry.
申し訳ありません。リンには世話になったと伝えてください。
Well, we must also remember she is staying in Shiro's house, so technically you're in Shiro's debt.
ランサーを倒し、聖杯を手に入れたのなら、シロの元に戻ります。ですから、それまで。
She's saying that she intended to wander around alone without it anywhere to go home to? That idiot.
何言ってるんだ。お前が帰るところは俺んちだろ。飯だって布団だってちゃんとセイバーの分を用意してんだから。
ですが、シロはもう私のことなど知らないと。
そうだよ。セイバーが何考えてるか俺にはわからない。
I say that, and then I take her hand.
シロ。
うちに帰るぞ。いくらサーバントだからってこんなに冷えたら風邪をひく。早く戻ってあったかいものでも食べよ
う。ですが。
それと言っとくけど俺は謝らないからな。文句があるなら今のうちに言っとけよ。
I'm crude about it, but I try to avoid her gaze. She stares at me, confused. Saber looks like she wants to apologize, but I ignore her. Maybe that works in my favor. She doesn't say anything. She just follows me in silence, holding my hand. We head across the bridge and into the park. It's 11 o'clock. There's nobody in the park, but it's packed with plenty of decorations like fountains and streetlights. I walk briskly. Saber's steps are sluggish. She stood on that bridge for more than 5 hours. She must be freezing and tired. When I tug on her hand, she occasionally stumbles, like she's about to fall down.
セイバー、もう少しゆっくり歩こうか。なんか調子が良くなさそうだし。
I turn toward her as I speak.
いえ、体はとても元気です。ただリンの言葉に踊らされるわけではありませんが、こうして手をつないでいると本当に合いびきのようだなと。
And, just like that, my face turns bright, hot red.
そうだな。その手離そうか。セイバーが迷惑だったらの話だけど。
いいえ、私もこうしている方がいいです。シロウの手は温かくて安心します。
And there our conversation ends. I resume heading home just to cover my embarrassment. Saber follows in silence. I'm not even sure how much farther it is to the house. Although embarrassed by the warmth of our clasped hands, we both leave the park. A lot's happened today. But if we're ending the day with warmth like this, hell, I'll change religion to thank the priest who, indirect as he may be, allowed this moment to happen. Of course, the second I think that.
どこに行く?
Ah, of course, way to ruin it.
勝手に人のものを持っていくな、小僧。
We run into someone we never should have. The elation I felt vanished, and my mind goes blank. Goosebumps cover my body, and I realize I've forgotten how to breathe.
シロウ。
Saber, standing behind me, probably feels the same. She grips my hand tightly in her own. The same way I feel a sense of impending death. Saber feels the inevitable despair.
待たせたな、セイバー。約束通り、こうして迎えに来てやったぞ。
あーちゃ。
The man in gold. The unidentified heroic spirit who annihilated Castor's bone soldiers and even took out Castor with barely any effort. Now that monster stands in front of us. He's so close. We're at exactly the right distance to begin slashing at each other at any moment. Death looms right in front of us, even more than when we face Berserker.
どうしたセイバー。俺がわざわざ出向いてやったのだ。いつまでも黙っているのは無礼であろう。それとも俺のものになる前に少しばかり遊ぶつもりか、騎士王よ。
Archer stifles a laugh. He's not even looking at me. Saber's his only focus. He admires her like she's a piece of art. Saber's demeanor changes. She must have made up her mind. She's already determined the man in front of us is an enemy, while I hardly move the muscle.
シロウ、何としても衝撃だけは防ぎます。その隙にあなただけは離脱してください。それがどれほど困難かは分かっていますが、あのサーバント相手ではそれが精一杯なのです。
I can hear the apology in her voice for not being able to do more. Even someone as powerful as Saber can only block his first attack. My chances of getting away from this guy are slim at best. Saber's asking me to forgive her for what is about to happen. She probably knows there's no way for her to defeat the man in gold. I can't let her do that. This is different than when we fought Berserker. I know, though I don't have proof, that making Saber fight this servant can only end badly. Actually, I do have proof. I know from seeing his noble phantasm last night. Saber can't beat him right now. This is not a matter for skills as a knight. It's not even the right way to look at this. No heroic spirit, so long as they remain a heroic spirit, can beat the man in gold.
違う。逃げるのはお前の方だ、セイバー。
シロ
I cover Saber and face Archer.
ほう、そうか。マスターがいたのだったな。あまりのみすぼらしさゆえ、犬か何かだと思ったぞ。
He smiles cheerfully. He raises an arm and lazily snaps his fingers. I feel sick. I need to leave right now or I'm dead. There's no rhyme or reason. I just know instinctively that this guy will kill me for standing in front of him like this.
行け、セイバー。ここからなら境界が近い。あいつなら、あれが相手でもお前をかくまってくれるはずだ。
I push Saber away and start running, trying to escape the death I can only hope isn't inevitable. There's no plan here. I'm just gonna risk it all and run straight at this guy, then I'm gonna project Saber's sword again, just like when we fought Berserker. I'm blown back. What just happened? The moment he snapped his finger, something appeared right beside me. It's a giant hammer. It knocks me aside like a piece of trash and I slam hard into the ground. I can't move. My body is completely useless, like all my bones have turned to jelly. I've lost all sensation in my limbs. The pain is so dull I can't even tell if I'm still alive.
殺しはせん。今ここで貴様を潰せばセイバーも消えてしまうからな。不本意ではあるが聖杯を呼ぶまでは生かしておいてやろう。
The man laughs. I try to push myself up, but my body won't listen.
だが思い上がるなよ雑種。貴様なぞいなくともサーバントを存命させる方法はある。単に今の状態が最も手がかからぬだけだ。それ以上さえずる。
And then my mind goes blank. He will kill me. If I make even a single move, he'll do just what he said he would. I can't possibly move after that kind of warning.
シロ
Saber tries to run toward me.
どこに行く？邪魔者はいなくなったのだ。お前が向かうべきはそのようなクズではなかろう。
The man in gold won't allow it. He stands in front of me and waits for Saber to reach me. Saber stops and glares at him. The two stand about 10 meters apart. I don't know about Archer, but Saber can close that distance in a heartbeat.
その様子ではまだ俺に下る気はないようだな。理解に苦しむ。お前ほどの英霊ならば俺に選ばれることがどれほどの価値か分かろうに。
よまいごと英霊になろうと私は王だ。貴様の軍門になど下らぬ。
そうか。いかに王であろうとお前は女だ。主の前に頭を垂れ仕え尽くすが女の幸せであろう。だというのに何を拒む。まさか物もわからぬ小娘でもあるまいし、俺の女になるのは恐ろしいか。
貴様
This guy is such a far cry from his childlike self. It's amazing he grows up to be this kind of character.
そう憤るな。俺は奪うだけではない。等しく喜びも与えよう。俺のものになるというのならば、文字通りこの世のすべてを与えてやる。誇るがいい。お前にはそれだけの価値があると認めたのだ。
The man moves. He extends both arms and approaches Saber, as if in a welcoming embrace.
そう。 守護者になどなることもなく、死にゆく運命に戻ることもない。もう一度だけ言うぞセイバー、このまま俺のものになれ。この世界で共に二度目の生を謳歌しようではないか。
断る。そのようなことに興味はないし、何より貴様と共に生きるなどまかり間違ってもありえません。
Saber looks straight at Archer as she speaks. She stands firm, not taking so much as a step back. His laughter suddenly stops. I'm not sure what he found so funny in the first place.
いいぞ、それでこそ俺の見込んだ女よ。はあ、この世に一つ程度は俺に従わぬ者がいなければな。よーし、では力ずくだ。聖杯を手に入れた後、その身に中身をぶちまけてやろう。喜べよセイバー。そうなればマスターなど不要となる。万能の器である聖杯、その力すべてを飲み干すのだからな。サーバントなどと人間の使い魔に甘んじることもなくなるだろう。
He's so damn smug. To that,
アーチャー、貴様の目的は何だ？
she must have realized that the only option is to fight him. And before she engages with the enemy, she wants to know why he does what he does.
目的か？さあ、何だったか。あいにくこの世の財は全て手に入れた身でな。望むものだととうにない。
聖杯を求めてはいないというのか？
聖杯？ああ、不老不死か。そんなものは蛇にくれてやった。
不老不死を蛇に譲った？
Saber freezes. What just happened? Saber suddenly shakes her head to refute those words.
だがこの世界は面白いぞ。根本は変わらぬが、装飾もここまで来れば別物だ。これならば再びこの世で君臨するのも悪くない。そうだな、俺の目的といえばそんなところか。それを効率よく進めるというのであらば、聖杯の力も悪くはないな。
支配欲か。見下げ果てたな、アーチャー。そんなことのために聖杯を欲するとは。
欲するのではない。世の財は全て我のもの。自分のものを他人に使われるのが我慢ならんだけよ。お前とてその政権を人に使われては腹立たしいだろう、騎士王よ。
Pale mist shrouds Saber. Then in a flash, she's wearing her brilliant silver armor.
ほう。
He doesn't move a muscle. In the next instant, Saber dashes forward. In the space of a single breath, she rushes straight at the man and swings her invisible sword at him with deadly speed. Saber goes flying backwards. If Saber's armor materialized by magical energy, Archer's must be the same. In the brief space of their rapid exchange, the man in gold arms himself. Saber looks calmly at Archer as she readies her sword. Even as his eyes meet hers, his sneer remains.
よいぞ。歯向かうことを許す、セイバ
The enemy happily announces the beginning of battle. A white light bursts in the air between them. Saber's sword shrouded in a bolt of lightning cleaves directly towards the Golden Knight. One, two, three, 4 strikes. Each time Saber's sword strikes, blinding light flashes from the contact. Watching her repeated attacks is like staring at a strobe light. It's just like when I first saw Saber, that night when she fought Lancer. Saber channels her excess magical energy into her sword and strikes with such speed and precision that she all but becomes a lightning bolt. The clang of sword against armor echoes through the air. Archer hasn't even drawn his weapons yet. As Saber's sword strikes at him, he barely manages to defend his head with both hands. He simply doesn't have the skill to block Saber's attack. Saber's skill with her sword is vastly superior to his. On top of that, her sword is invisible. Even if Archer draws his weapon, he won't be able to defend against that invisible blade. It strikes his armor relentlessly. The sword hits the armor, chipping away at it and sending sparks showering in all directions. The only thing the man can do is ward Saber's blows from his face with his hands. This isn't a fight. It's a massacre. But, in spite of the fury of Saber's attacks, Archer's armor remains intact. If he's still unscathed even after such a savage assault, that golden armor must be his noble phantasm.
さすがにこれ以上はまずいか。相変わらず底なしの魔力よな。俺の鎧がきしみを上げるなど、そうあり得ることではないのだが。
Archer raises his arm, but not towards Saber. I have no idea what he's trying to do, but Archer just stretches his arms up into the empty night sky.
戯れは終わりだ。その身、ここで俺に捧げるがいい。
Am I hallucinating? Is this an illusion? He has something in his hand. It's a short sword shaped like a key. Saber plants both feet, unleashing a much more powerful attack against Archer. But Archer bats it aside with his dark red sword.
今のは復讐の呪詛を含んだ宝具か。
Saber puts some distance between herself and Archer, glaring at his sword. The enemy wielding such a weapon is a threat, no question. But it also means he's showing his hand. Whether his noble phantasm is armor or a sword, we'll be able to figure out how to deal with it as long as we can see it. Saber readjusts her stance. Archer already set his armors at its limit. If Saber can go back on the offensive with the same fury as before, she should be able to cut through his armor. Even if he pulls out his noble phantasm now, the next blow will decide the match.
最後だ。前回つけられなかった決着をつけよう。アーチャー。
The sword in her hand is still invisible. She readies her sacred sword, still bound up in swirling wind, and faces her enemy. Saber seems to know what that noble phantasm is. She put that distance between them because she knows how to deal with it. She's readying herself to face Archer directly. Each of them wields a sword, and if their powers are equal, then it is a matter of a wielder's skill. And that should mean Saber will win.
よかろう。では来るがいいセイバー。その剣に免じ、俺のすべてを見せてやる。
The man laughs.
ならば。
Saber charges without hesitation. Her sword will cleave through his armor. The very instant I think that,
ゲート・オブ・バビロン。
an invisible door opens behind the man. Saber jerks to one side. Archer holds something else in his hand now, not that black and red sword. It's an invisible sword like Saber's. By the time Saber deflects it, Archer already has a different sword. His sword strikes at her in a merciless rain of ice shards. Saber twists away to dodge, but the air around her becomes almost solid with flying blades. She's driven back as the blades close in on her from all sides. As the shards clinging to Saber vanish, her enemy holds a deadly-looking weapon that resembles the Grim Reaper's scythe. Saber blocks the weapon, arching for her neck with a gauntlet, but it's useless. The scythe shears through her gauntlet like it's made of tissue paper and begins to drain her magical energy. It's as if it's trying to pull out her bones rather than her blood or flesh. Saber stumbles, but she manages to keep it together. But her retreat takes on a different note. She's not distancing herself to prepare for her next attack. She's desperately fleeing the enemy.
そんなバカな。
Saber glares at Archer as she passes magical energy through her numbed arm. A halo of hilt floats around Archer. Those are the swords that slaughtered Castor. His noble phantasm, now it's backing Saber into a corner. Even I, looking at it from a distance, can't believe what I'm seeing. All those hilts floating behind him are definitely his noble phantasm.